Oh, 2008. I can I can vividly remember seeing some movies in 2008, including this one. Man, especially for my age, I'm kind of surprised that I'm able to remember that, especially seeing it in the theater.
When you focus on Kung Fu, you suck. The way to get through to you is with this. Have a dumpling. DreamWorks Kung Fu Panda. You have done well, Panda.
Done well? I've done awesome!
Oof. Yes, you have done awesome.
Kung Fu Panda is directed by John Stevenson and Mark Osborne, with a screenplay by Johnathan Aibel and Glenn Berger, and a story by Ethan Reiff and Cyrus Voris. The film has a star-studded voice cast including Jack Black, Dustin Hoffman, Angelina Jolie, Ian McShane, Seth Rogen, Lieu, David Cross, Randall Duke Kim, James Hahn, Dan Fogler, Michael Clarke Duncan, and Jackie Chan. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, to everyone's surprise, including his own, Po, an overweight, clumsy panda, is chosen as protector of the Valley of Peace. His suitability will soon be tested as the Valley's arch-enemy is on his way. 2008, for as much as I know that, of course, there was stuff going on at that time with something like Great Recession, and even in the entertainment world, we had something like the strikes of '08 going on. There were some movies that came out, at least in 2008, that people were really enjoying. I mean, you saw the birth of the MCU with Iron Man becoming a huge success for Marvel, kicking off their universe as a whole, and it still goes on today. You saw The Dark Knight not only being a success, but was even nominated for Oscars. And DreamWorks made a movie about a talking panda who learns kung fu that led to a successful franchise of itself. I'm not making this up, you guys. I'm not BSing you. It is surprising on how much, for what this movie's premise is, you wouldn't think for this franchise to be still going after that many years. But here we are. I remember when I saw the film in the theater when I was about 6 or 7 when this film came out. And it's crazy to think that I could remember something like that, like I said. And I really remember enjoying the film. I really had a great time. I saw it when I was young. And so, of course, especially with it being an animated feature, I still really enjoyed it. Now, 16 years old, as the movie is at this point, I still enjoy the film to this day. I really do. I am pleasantly surprised on how much I really found this movie to be an entertaining film, especially an animated one at best. So here are the positives that I found with the film. The voice acting, I think, is fantastic. Jack Black is amazing as Po. It's almost like Black was pretty much born to play Po. He brings a lot of wit and charm that makes Po one of animation's entertaining characters to date. I mean, he is still to this day like one of DreamWorks' best characters, alongside the likes of Shrek and Hiccup and Toothless, and even something like maybe like Megamind. But like, still to this day, it still surprises you that a talking panda would be still an iconic animated character in the realm of animation today. But yeah, he's brilliant, man. Jack Black brings a lot of charm to him and a lot of wit. I also really enjoyed Dustin Hoffman, and that I think he is wise and hilarious as Master Shifu. I think Hoffman just brings like a deadpan and wise master of like kung fu to life, especially the deadpan part. I thought that was really funny throughout the film to see Dustin Hoffman play a cranky old master of kung fu. And I think really both Black and Hoffman are excellent together. Having both Black's wit and Hoffman's deadpan nature makes them a hilarious duo to watch throughout. And really, you center on those two, and they are a delight to watch as the film progresses. All the members of the Furious Five, Angelina Jolie, Seth Rogen, Lieu, David Cross, and Jackie Chan are excellent and fun to watch. I think each of the characters are unique from each other. They're not like all the same type of characters, and I also found them to be enjoyable with one another, seeing their camaraderie together, especially when they're in battle. Randall Duke Kim is, I think, spiritual and funny as Master Oogway. Being a mentor in a way to Shifu, he's the polar opposite to him, where Shifu is a little bit more strict and reserved. Oogway is, of course, that very free-loving and funny master that you would just love to be around. I think both Duke Kim and Hoffman work really well together, especially since Duke Kim's calmness plays well off of Hoffman's like deadpan nature, like I said, and I thought that those were like the best parts of the film, is seeing those two interact with each other. Ian McShane, I think, is intimidating and frightening as Tai Lung. Not only is Tai Lung terrifying, but McShane plays him like a Shakespearean villain, which fits well with what McShane's personality is. And I really mean that. Like, there's a certain type of vibe to the, like, way McShane kind of comes off, and kind of feeling as if he is, like, the center of this. Like, this is his performance, in a way. But he is really terrifying and very ferocious as Tai Lung. James Hong is caring and funny as Mr. Ping, Poe's dad. Hong really plays a proud noodle shop owner and father of Poe who only wants what's best for him by having Poe follow in his footsteps, which is essentially him taking over the shop. But really, I think both Black and Hong work really well together as being son and father. And I really did have a blast watching them have great rapport with one another. I think the animation, man, is incredible. There are probably some tiny moments where the animation is, you could tell at times it is from 2008, like certain tiny glimpses, but overall, I still think it holds up very well. The way characters fight looks very well and just looks gorgeous, man. There are some certain moments in this movie where the animation just truly shines. Is incredible that for a movie that was made 16 years ago, it's impressive on how much it still holds up. You would think with like old animation, as much as they are still technical achievements, you would think that you would see some dated moments, especially for a movie that was made in like the late 2000s. But no, this movie still holds up pretty well by today's standards, and I'm really pleasantly surprised by that. The music is amazing. I mean, you have Hans Zimmer, who you just heard me gush about in both Dune films, as well as John Powell, who is a respected composer himself in some movies that I've enjoyed him in. I think they really capture the culture of what China is very well. And especially when the action scenes also happen in this movie, the music ramps up amazingly. I was blown away by how well that music was really intense when the action sequences are going down. But overall, I thought the score was amazing. The direction is stellar. I think directors John Stevenson and Mark Osborne really have a very energetic and hilarious vibe to the film that I think works amazingly. And I think Stevenson and Osborne just keeps the film upbeat and exciting with each scene. No matter how the film keeps going, they just manage to keep it still having this more fun and just action-packed tone that captures with what a movie like this should be, especially for kids. And I was pleasantly surprised on how much I was even entertaining myself. I'm 22 years old, you guys. I was still having a fun time watching it. The action sequences are stunning. I think each action sequence are intense and well crafted that it'll make audiences just speechless. Like, the way characters fight looks and feels fluid while being visually dazzling. I was really stunned on how much the action really stands out in a way that doesn't feel like a copycat of things. It feels unique in its own sort of way, while also still being a tribute to movies that did have martial arts for a long time. So to see this movie still have a voice of its own with regard to the action is pretty impressive, especially for an anime film. Pacing and runtime, I think, is just perfect. Each scene is paced very well, not drawn out, nor too short. For a runtime of 1 hour and 32 minutes, you don't even notice that runtime at all, because it just feels right. I think that is what makes this movie feel in a lot of ways special in that the runtime is not bloated, because as much as we have like something like Across the Spider-Verse and what that did with pushing the limits with regards to runtime and all that stuff, I just like when animated movies are made for this type of pace and runtime. I think it works really well because you just hardly notice it, and you just feel like it's just perfect on its own. It doesn't need to be bloated, it just needs to feel right, and it does. I think the story is really good, though you can say that the story isn't wholly original. It's still a fun one. I mean, no movie is 100% original, but it's still exciting to watch this film play out as it keeps going. Seeing Poe be picked for the title of Dragon Warrior and showing the trials and lengths he takes to learn is a fun and entertaining one for families to enjoy. I thought the writing is sharp. Not only are the jokes they're witty, but just the natural conversations feel engaging. Constantly throughout, the writing shine. And I really mean that. When the jokes hit, and they work very well. When it's just conversations between characters, it works really well because of the flow of everything. The editing was done very well due to that pacing and runtime. Scenes just play out quickly and has that energy to it. Scenes are just right and flow right for the style of and tone the film goes through. And that's what works with this film, is just how everything just all fits together. Everything just feels right no matter what, and that editing feels sharp, man. Quick and fast. I like it. There's only like one negative with this movie that I just have with it that just holds it back from a perfect score to me. So my negative is really Tylon. And while I do think he is voiced well and intimidating by McShane, I think he can be a little bit overplayed. Though his story is explained, I feel like there's not much with regards to his plan other than just wanting the title of Dragon Warrior. And I just wish there was more to it. I just wish that there was a complexity to Tylon, although I understand why he wants that title. I just feel like that's just it. And I feel like there's more to it than just a title, and while I understand this is a kid's movie, I think it could have been more fleshed out in that way. Otherwise, I think Kung Fu Panda delivers an exciting time for families. Kids will have a blast with it, but parents will get a kick from watching it. Kung Fu Panda was, and still is, a fun animated film through and through, guys. Again, this movie's 16 years old, and yet this film still entertains me. And it's been a while since I've seen this. Not since the theater, but just been a while in preparation for the series. I'm just still surprised on how much I was entertaining myself. So yeah, I give the film a 9 out of 10. I think this film is one that I think kids will still find enjoyment, and it's still a franchise that DreamWorks is really proud of, and one that I am always excited to see continue on, because of course they have had sequels and they have continued, but it's just nice knowing that for a movie that came out at that time, at that moment, it just felt really special, and it felt really nice, and it just adds DreamWorks' portfolio of great animated features. So yeah, so I will have, of course, my review of the series as a whole, 2, 3, and 4, and some other movies. So yeah, look forward to those reviews and other movie TV show reviews coming soon.